Welcome to Emotional Support Water Bottle with Hannah and Ailish.
I'm Hannah.
And I'm Ailish. Well, what's going on with you this week?
Not much. I was pretty unplugged all weekend because I didn't really have service camping.
Yeah. How was that?
Fine. Yeah, it was just so nice out. But my youngest was a bit of a liability.
Was he really?
Yeah, he just like everything would be fine and he would just like take off. Like he was literally like, I think it was, he was probably just overstimulated and like seeing everything and being outside. I mean, I could not get a handle on him. And like, it was funny though. You're like driving around in the campground and he saw this guy, yells out the window and goes, "Dad!" and waves. I was like, oh.
Did he look like your husband?
I mean, he was a white guy. Like, I don't know. Like, no. And then he did it again. There's like some, I don't know if they were like older teenagers, but they were like digging in the sand because we went to the little beach and he did it again. It's like, "Dada!" Like, stop.
The people are probably like, "Oh, the poor thing.
He has no father.
He doesn't know."
He's so desperate. But he was just like all over the place. It was like, whoo. So I was like worn out.
He needs a little harness so you can just grab him.
I do have one of those backpack things from when my oldest was little. I'm like, I'm gonna have to put that thing on him because he is like, I don't know, he's just like, bye. Just like running all over the place. So I mean, I feel like my mom was like, whoa. Like, this is a lot.
Because he isn't usually like that.
No. I mean, he's kind of getting like that.
Yeah.
But he just, I mean, he was having a good time. Like, he wasn't sad. It was just like all
he
over the
wasn't
place.
trying to run away from his family.
No, he was just like, "Woo, I'm going to run
the
over
freedom.
Into the road." Literally. Yeah. It's like, woo. I mean, I was like, and then at one point, my mom shot him in the camper.
He locked him in there.
Out of control. And then he wasn't being bad. He was just uncontrollable.
Yeah.
And he locked himself in there. So we couldn't get in. And then we had to luckily one of the windows open. We had to shove the oldest one through.
Oh my gosh.
And the door unlocked. But it was funny when we opened that window, he comes out like, "Hi." Oh my
He was a little stinker.
He was a turd, man. Oh my goodness. So
I was dying at the picture of him sitting. Well, the two of them were on the little chairs, and he had this huge apple.
He eats an apple like a grown man.
Because he must be mid-chew, and his face is like. Like the zoom in is so funny. Gosh. And he has this little swim trunks on, just sitting there.
Sap. I know he loves eating an apple like a grown man.
Taking bites out of it.
Then when he's done with it, just throws it. It's like he's in that stage where it's like, I don't want this anymore. Just throws it across the room. But other than that, the weather was nice.
Yeah, it was a nice weekend. It's like Memorial Day weekend is such a little tease for summer, though. Because
and it's like the kickoff and everything. Ugh.
And you get that long weekend, and then coming back on Tuesday is so hard.
I know. And even though some of the day, what day was it? Oh, I guess Sunday it rained in the evening, and then Monday it was kind of like raining.
It got cool.
It did, and it was like, it's almost June.
I know, come on. And then ever since then, it's been a little bit cooler and kind of rainy, stormy.
I know.
So that's not, it's like we backtracked to springtime.
I know. What the heck?
But yeah, I like my friend's parents got a new boat.
Oh, yeah.
So their family has expanded a lot with marriages and kids, whatever. So they kind of upgraded it, and I get to reap the benefits as just a passenger. So I went out with them on the boat on Sunday. And it was like not that nice because we thought the storm was going to come in. And then so we were going to go to Put in Bay, but then we couldn't because it was a longer trip. But it was nice to just be on the water. Like that's the one thing about like where we live that I really like.
I know. I was literally thinking that too because we were like on that one beach and I mean, it was blowing like crazy.
Yeah.
I was like, whoo. But I'm like, it really is like pretty.
Yeah, it is.
And just to have like that option. It's like, I don't really want to like go swimming underwater. But it was like cool to see like people like in the water and the waves and the smell of the nasty fishy smell.
I know, the dead fish.
The carcasses on the beach. But it is like really kind of fun up there.
Yeah, it's just nice to have that option. And every time I get kind of down about where we live, I think a lot of people travel up here to have that, and we have it basically in our backyard. So
I know, and it's just like because our winters are so long, it's like we only get to enjoy this like the lake and everything for such a short time.
Well, and it's like my family doesn't have a boat, like I just said. Yours doesn't either. So it's like we're not even going up to the lake all the time or going to the beach all the time. So and with like work and everything too, it's like you don't even always get to enjoy it as much as you might like to.
I know. And I'm like, why don't we come up to this little beach more? Like, I just like forget about it.
I know, but the only thing that is a blemish when you're out there on the water, on the beach, is you look across and see the nuclear power plant.
Yeah, that is kind of
such an eyesore.
And then you're like, if that thing explodes,
we're all dead.
I guess I'd rather be closer to it. Get it over with faster.
Take me out. I know when I toured that like a couple years ago for like a work thing, it was so locked down. They took our socials. They had to do full background checks, which like rightfully so. And it was really interesting to go in there and see everything. But I had just listened to a Chernobyl podcast. And so before we like toured the actual plant, they had us in this room and we kind of talked about safety and history and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, you're not fooling me. I know that this place is a ticking time bomb. They're like, no, actually, this is very safe. Yeah, until it isn't.
Yeah, literally. That's what they said at Chernobyl, too.
Like, it is safe
and then
until
they were like,
it's not.
Oh, you guys don't have to leave. And
yeah,
then
everything's fine.
And everyone stays. And did you ever watch that movie?
I didn't, no.
I watched that a couple of times. I actually think it's a pretty good movie with like Jesse McCartney and I can't even remember who else is.
Yeah, no, I've never seen it. I saw.
It's good. I mean, it's like a teenager's scary movie, but I still really like it.
I saw a documentary about it. There's like a million, but I didn't see the one that was on HBO because I don't have HBO. That came out like I think around the time I listened to the podcast. And then I was just trying to suck in every YouTube video I possibly could watch because I just got obsessed with that disaster.
I know.
But yeah, so it just, you're having a great time and then you look across and see that and you're like, I am mortal. Like this could take me out.
Oh dear.
Yeah. But yeah, it was a good little Memorial Day weekend. Okay, guys, it's no secret that Hannah and I have a sweet tooth, but we hate the guilt that we feel after we've binged on some of our favorite cookies, donuts, or other treats. So that's where Dough comes in. Dough is an edible cookie dough company that also has donut holes and some delicious chocolate hazelnut spreads that you can eat and not feel so guilty afterwards. These treats are made with extra ingredients that are good for you, gives you extra energy, makes you focus more, and the best part is that they are vegan and gluten-free, which is so amazing and something that you don't find all the time. And sometimes when you get vegan or gluten-free products, they taste vegan and gluten-free. But these cookie doughs and donut holes do not skimp out on the flavor, and they are so delicious. We have tried the cookie dough raw and baked, and it's good either way. And one of our favorite new donut holes are the collab donut holes with Chamberlain coffee, and it's the cinnamon sugar. And these are just so amazing. You want to eat them with your favorite cup of coffee in the morning. They're just so delicious. And the best part is that they come with some extra vitamins in there to, get your day going and help you focus a little bit more. So if you want to try these vegan, gluten-free, and delicious products, you can go to Eat Dough, and that's spelled DEUX.com to place an order. And if you use the code WaterBottle15, you can get an extra 15% off of whatever you order. That is dough, spelled DEUX, and use WaterBottle15 for 15% off. Okay, we are back, and we're going to talk about part 3 of the reunion. I wrote like a million notes, and I think I just like rage wrote them. Like, I didn't look over these, and I think it's probably kind of nonsense how much I wrote, but I was just like so emotional that I just wrote everything down. Overall, what did you feel?
I feel like it was very depressing.
Yeah.
I really felt like, not to make it about me.
My God, but there was something that I thought about us too, and I wonder if it's the same.
Oh, I was just going to say, it was just so sad to have invested so much time into these people. I mean, like literally like 10, 11 years investing into these people and their lives. And for Lala to basically say it was fake was just like heartbreaking.
But I don't believe her.
No, I know, but a little bit though. But it's what she's saying.
Yeah.
So it's just like kind of a slap in the face.
Yeah.
And I just didn't like that. And I also thought it was cruel what they did to Ariana. And
well, that was the one thing they said on Disrespectfully. And
I forgot they said that.
I didn't really think about it that way until they brought it up.
I did when I was watching. I'm like, this is so sad. Like, I can't imagine having, people you thought, I mean, even if you're like your coworkers, to sit down and watch what all your coworkers were saying about you and what your ex just ripping into you, calling you the worst things. I mean, it was just so sad.
That was really hard to watch, and really, like, it made me emotional. But the way that, like Katie kind of framed it on the podcast, where she was like, it felt like a little almost vindictive from the producers. Like I guess to me, I didn't realize that until she said that like, oh yeah, everybody else was there.
Right.
They don't know every single thing that was said or how things were edited, but everybody was there except for Ariana. And I'm sure that like, Katie probably said to her afterwards, like, oh my God, this happened or whatever. But to hear it and see it like that is a whole different ball game. And it was really like, it did feel kind of mean. Like, I think that we like, as an audience member, like, she needed to see that.
Right.
But then on an emotional level, to see how heartbreaking it was and in real time.
Right, and to hear your ex say that is just disgusting.
Yeah, it really, I mean, that was awful. I don't know, like, how Katie was saying, like, oh, well, they didn't get their moment on the show, so were they trying to get it here? Like, I don't know. Like, maybe that was their intention. Like, we're probably never gonna know that. To skip ahead to that part though, like, I do feel like the emotional exchange that the two of them had now felt more like Ariana was ready to just say what she wanted to say to him in that moment versus while they were filming, it was so raw. And like she said, like everybody was pushing me and trying to force this. And it was only a few months after the scandal broke. So like, I don't know if they were trying to force that conversation. And I guess it was fine to hear what Tom said, but it was only words, it didn't really carry much weight for me personally. But yeah, I don't know. It was really, and then they could not have done anything else after that. Like it was literally show that this reunion is over.
Right.
Like, because that was so heavy.
Right.
So I guess we can just kind of go with some of the high points here from the rest of the reunion. It picked up where part 2 left off with the hippie conversation, and then Ariana kind of comes in a little bit later and says that she wasn't ready to move on at that point. It felt like she was forced to. They bring up Jackson Brittany, which I kind of thought was like random.
I thought it was stupid and it wouldn't age well.
Yeah.
Just because it's like, why are we talking about this? And then when Lala started going off, it was like, what are we doing?
What is going on? Yeah, it made no sense at all. I did think I wrote down about the Lala thing where she's like, Brittany was acting so out of pocket on the day of my gender reveal. Like this, I was so just like...
I'm sorry, did Brittany... It was so weird because at first you're like, oh, Brittany was there, I don't know, witching out her mom. And then it was like, she sent her a text. Did she even know it was the day
I know,
gender
because
reveal?
then she's like, she was in Texas and then... or Kentucky, wherever. And Schwartz is like, I was with them. And then that's when Lala was like, and Jax was in her ear. And I was just like, what are we talking about right now?
And then when she was like, there's a difference between a babysitter and a nanny. A babysitter and a nanny. I'm like, what is this coming from? Like, it was so
we had no context
weird.
either. Like, she never even said, like, well, I called up the person that watches
So
Cruise.
basically all I could think of is that Lala was in the wrong.
I know.
Because when she's in the wrong, she acts
has a huge reaction. And then these are like the sound bites that I can't stand with Lala, where I feel like we talked about it with part 1 and 2, where she just is trying to throw everything out on the table to salvage like her space on the show. It's like, she's like, and my 63-year-old mom and this Kentucky muffin.
I know, it's like, what's the insulting? I know, like the insulting. It's like, what is the problem? My gender reveal. When
I'm finding out I have another daughter.
I know.
It's like again, okay.
I think you're making it too much.
We don't even know. Did Brittany know that was happening? Like, we have no idea. It was so bizarre. Literally. It was so out of context.
Don't respond if you're busy.
Right. Just don't respond to her then.
I know. It's so freaking... And was that supposed to be like a test for the Valley?
Yeah.
Like, see, look at all this drama I have.
I guess I just literally, though, like... I am not a parent, but thinking about being in California, especially where they are in like the Hollywood area, I think finding someone to watch your child that you trust would be extremely hard.
Right.
And if I was in a situation where I didn't have family around like Lala does, I think I would probably be pretty protective of who is watching my kid too.
It was like, and then I was like, so is it the nanny or is it the babysitter? Like, I still didn't understand what they were mad about. It's like, yeah, she might be a little like, why'd you take my babysitter nanny or
especially
whatever.
If she didn't say anything to her at first, like, hey, you're going to be out of town. Is it okay if I give so-and-so a call to watch Ocean? Like, I'm sure that would have been.
I know. That's why I feel like whatever that was, Lala was in the wrong.
When she wouldn't say exactly what happened because of exactly that. So that was weird. I just hate when she like so many times with like Ariana too, like she tries to pull out these like little sound bitey things that she thinks are gonna hit so hard, and it's like, no, that didn't actually. Like I was so annoyed by that.
Right.
It's just dumb behavior. Oh, Brock talks about how Sheena fought with all the women, and this just like made me mad because I'm like, Brock, I get that like Sheena probably filled you in on stuff, but you have not been here
watching it.
Like that is
Why are
weird.
You going back and
that is so weird. And then Ariana
like
has to chime. He probably did. She had to chime in and be like, "I never once was one to attack
I was
her,
defending her."
Yeah, and then Ariana said, kind of like in a sly way, like that's when you need to get out of the comment section. And I mean, I do think like to Lala's point in regard to Sheena, like I think that is one of her problems. And then I listened to one of her podcasts and she was saying like, I really only look at like the first 20 or 30 comments and they're usually from people I know and my friends. I don't believe you, Sheena.
No.
I don't believe you at all. Like I don't believe that. Sandoval contributing, like Andy brought up, how does Katie think Sandoval contributed to Tom and Katie's divorce? And he just will not admit that he did not like Katie ever. Like he cannot.
He didn't like Stas. He didn't like it. That was the problem with this whole reunion, and specifically Lala, is that there's so much lore, Vanderpump lore, that nothing Lala was saying was making sense.
Yeah.
Or like what Tom didn't really like talk. I mean, he did talk more, but just through the whole reunion, he wasn't like flying off the handles like
thank
Lala
God.
was. And it's like, there's just too much lore for her to be acting the way she was.
Well, that's what is so frustrating. She acts, and I think I wrote it down at some point later, maybe towards the end, but she just acts like she is, her opinions on everybody, like she knows all.
I know. And
you haven't been here.
Stomping around, throwing tantrums. Sitting like this and that, rolling her eyes,
it's like
stink facing. It's like,
and your random opinions on these people are not like that. Doesn't make it true. Yeah, that doesn't make it facts. It's not like this started out as a legitimate friend group and a group of people who worked together in a restaurant,
right?
And like they were very close. That is how the show even like came about, because Lisa was like, I have all these beautiful people and there's so much drama because they're all sleeping with each other. Like that is the show. Lala was not there for that. Like she came in seasons later and there already was so much history with these people. So don't pretend that you have read everyone. Right. And when she said about the Sandoval thing where to Ariana, she's like, you brought him around and I had to put up with him. You shoved him in our face. No, he was here from the beginning. Like, what are you talking about?
That's why, like, that's what was so frustrating about it. There's just so many points against Lala for her to be acting the way she's acting. It's like, actually, this was Tom Sandoval's show.
Right.
He was a main cast member. That is the show.
Right. Even if he and... Oh, okay.
But
it's always with you though, gone from the video. These damn mosquitoes. It's just if Tom and Ariana would have broken up, say like season 7, Tom would have stayed on the show. He wouldn't have just gone away. It wasn't Ariana forcing him on the show because they were together.
Right.
Like, so her saying like he was shoved in our face. No, that is not accurate at all.
No, it's like because you were working on a show together.
It's so dumb. And then like just an example of how Tom, it's unbelievable how he can just say the wrong things at the absolute wrong time. It's like he cannot help himself. So after the whole, like, he and Katie kind of got into it, Andy's like, well, you guys just have undeniable chemistry. And he goes, yeah, we're going to bang it out. Like, why make these dumb comments? Like, it's like you just cannot even help yourself. You have to freaking say it. Just stop.
I know.
Just stop. It's not funny. We shift to why Dan didn't really go out a lot with the crew in San Francisco. And Ariana said because he's not getting paid. There's kind of like a Brock comparison. And Ariana very nicely, I thought, said like, well, he doesn't want to be on the show. And Brock clearly did want to be on the show because he's here now. Like Dan is not a clout chaser.
Again, like I just didn't think that was that big of a deal that he wasn't going on the trolley rides, and
he didn't need to be there.
No, and I felt like when she said, well, he's not getting paid, I felt like she was kind of saying that it's not his job to go. That's the way I took it.
Yeah,
not just like, oh, he wants 50,000.
I didn't think that either. Yeah, I think it was like,
I feel like they took it that way.
But like, why, if he didn't want to organically go to this where he doesn't even really know these people, like I wouldn't go to that if I wasn't getting paid either. You know what I mean?
Especially because there was so much drama.
Yeah, exactly. And the time that he did come on, it was like going into the lion's den with Lala questioning him like a freaking,
I know, and he probably thought that was
interrogator.
So stupid.
Yeah. Oh, then this is where I guess literally everything I wrote was just like my emotions from after the 5 minutes at the end or however long it was, when they're kind of like amping it up, like everybody's faces. Like Ariana, I think she mouthed to Sheena like, what's going on, basically. Sheena is terrified, absolute terror in her eyes because she knows what's coming is not going to be a good look for her. Lala has those pierced lips. They're just like leaned to the side.
I know, just the body language is horrible.
Then Ariana shifts to stunned while she's watching. Sheena keeps giving a side glance over to Ariana to try and see what her reaction is. Katie is just pissed at Lala's monologue at the end when like the music is playing and they're showing all this stuff. And then like so many people are crying. Like Tom is, I think, well, I don't know if Sandoval was crying at that time, but I think Tom Schwartz was crying and James was crying. I'm like, where is this emotion? I guess if you didn't watch that before and you're seeing all these like random memories from over the years come up, that would be emotional. But to like hear Lala's narrative over top of it was so annoying again to relive.
I know.
And then basically everything after that was just the aftermath. Like poor Ariana just is such a valid reaction of like, it's so hurtful. She's crying and saying that she's been her honest self. Tom Sandoval sounds like a complete idiot where he's like, you knew me. Like, and then he even says later, like,
it just felt like he scripted that.
Yeah, like, you know, I'm right-handed. You know, I have brown eyes. And Katie's like, I think she's talking about the fact that you lived a double life, you idiot. Like, what are you talking about? But it like, it was so sad because if you haven't like been in that situation with like a horrible affair in a relationship, you still can get where it's like you thought you knew a person, you spent time with them, and then they pulled the rug out from under you and you're like, I don't know who you are anymore. Like that is so hurtful.
I know.
And then when that like sound bite that we heard from a long time ago of like, I just want you away from me, and she says how she didn't want the ending of the season to be like her Miami girl moment that Tom had with, or Miami moment that Tom had with Kristen, and then they show the clip of him blubbering, and it's just maybe more of his tears are genuine than I care to believe, but like the way he does it doesn't seem that way.
The only thing I think he probably, or I don't know if he feels bad, but he's like blown away by is the fact that Ariana is also getting sued by Raquel. That's the only thing I think he's like, whoa.
When Ariana
but I don't believe the rest of it.
They're crocodiles. I mean, like she said, the way he can like turn it on and turn it off, like that isn't genuine emotion.
Later, he's like, "Oh yeah, when we were all over each other. That was just because
we were rolling on acid." That was like, so disrespectful.
Like it's just
he can't help himself with these stupid
because it doesn't fit the narrative that he's playing that their relationship was fake for 10 years.
It wasn't fake. I mean, you can't. Oh, sorry. I didn't realize I was squishing your tail. Anyway, yeah, that's when he tries to do his like apology thing, which whatever, like it's just empty. I do think I don't even know if I can say it's like closure, anything. Like
it did feel a little. I think she's like, yes, you are horrible and you said all those horrible things about me and see, this is how you are. Then at the end, this is good for me.
Yeah.
But we didn't talk about that because that didn't fit Lala's narrative.
Yeah. I thought that maybe in the unedited, we might get more of that. Like, did anybody say anything about what Tom said at the end? Like, are we going to acknowledge this?
No, because that doesn't fit any of their...
But it wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't brought up at all.
Because that proved Ariana being right the whole time and everyone else being wrong.
Blinded. Yeah, the mask slipped and we're just not going to talk about it.
No.
I just like... And when I was thinking about that, I was like, could Andy have asked different questions? Like, I don't know. Like, in that moment, I feel like you just don't. You say we're going to show this and get a raw reaction, and you have no idea how things are going to go. So I feel like he just kind of like let it play out. And he, in hindsight, I'm sure he could have like directed things in a different way. And maybe he did and things got cut out. Like, we literally don't know. But it is annoying how if any of that was brought up more, we didn't see it at all.
I know, and like his last giggle maniacal laugh at the end is
evil.
It was so disturbing, like sociopathic level disturbing, and the fact that none of them had anything to say about that
was wild.
It was.
I thought it was really sad too when Ariana was like, you brought this girl into our lives in such a way, and now she continuously talks about me. I mean, that is so, like, that is a whole nother level to this whole thing. That Rachel now has a freaking podcast, which, side note, is that still going? Like, I don't even
want to look.
Yeah, like, I haven't even thought about it in a little bit, honestly, but
I'm sure they're still talking about me and I'm not even on the show.
It's just, with this lawsuit and the podcast and every other interview that she's done, it's like she has just milked this for all that it has. And it's so sad that Ariana, who did not do anything to warrant any of this, is somehow being dragged in such a horrible way. Like, it's not enough.
And the only reason Tom was like, I know, I did that, blah, 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 is because he also hates Rachel.
Right, exactly.
If he was still like, oh, I'm still in love with her, it'd be a totally different thing.
Yeah, if they were still together, it would be a totally different thing. Like, it's so... I know now that he's feeling the wrath too. I hope that when he said, I understand, I'm going to give you your space, I hope that he means that now that they're not in the house, not that he was like trying to reach out with her when they were living there, but it's like if and when they film the next season, like, just if she's on it, let's not even go there. Like, that chapter is done. Like, we cannot keep doing this. And he's a freaking idiot. Absolute idiot if he tries to, like, ever talk to her ever again. Like, I can't even... but I don't know if I believe him, because I just think that he still doesn't get it. And then she talks about what Lala said, and Schwartz said that her walk away was earned. She said that it was the real moment. Like, it would have been fake for her to do anything other than try to walk away from him and to have that moment where their conversation wouldn't have been productive or anything that she needs to listen to. Sheena defends backing up Lala in the moment with some, like, loose... I don't even know what she was saying. She's like, I
didn't want her to be alone.
Yeah.
I didn't want her to be alone.
Okay. But, like, did you actually agree with what she was saying or not? Or was it just that you didn't want her to be alone? Like, I don't know. That was just dumb. And then that's when Lala starts bringing up the Randall stuff. It is not the same. Like, I'm so tired of this. She's like, well, I had to be here and everybody said all this stuff about Randall.
They'd be mad at them.
And I'm sorry, but, like, the Randall thing, it was clear as day in front of you. And, like, I know that, like, it doesn't feel good to hear that from people afterwards, and you are blinded at times. Like, I get that. But it's like the fact that she rode so hard for him, saying he's a stand-up man.
Right. That's why with the receipts and the lore, she just sounds dumb. Like, it's like I know people are like bringing up all this, like, stuff she said and blah blah blah. But it's like there's literally we know,
and when she's
there's
like,
no point. It's like, you're not making sense.
Right.
We already know that you're not making sense.
When she said, like, I don't get to dictate on the show, but we know that she did, because all the Randall stuff she flat out refused to talk about.
And even beyond the Randall stuff, she would stomp around, scream and yell at everybody. Nobody was allowed to talk.
Yeah.
She just, I mean, I know
That's
Rachel's a bad person. It's like, but it was like, Rachel wasn't allowed to talk. She, it's like, no, I'm done talking to you. Get out of my face. Like, all the time. She was always dictating everything because she's so unhinged.
Yeah.
It's like, we have footage of this over 11 seasons. Well, I'm sorry. I think she came in on season 4.
Yeah.
Whatever. We have all these years of footage of her doing that. That's why it's so, like, stupid that she's even saying anything at all. Like, there's no discussion. She's just...
Well, and I don't really get why she's like, I didn't have the choice. What do you mean you didn't have the choice? Like, Ariana didn't ask for permission to walk out. She just did it.
It's just such a weird... Like, that's such a bizarre... Why do you hate Ariana because of that? You should hate the producers.
She's just
you should
jealous.
hate everybody.
Yeah.
It's like, that's who you should be mad at.
And I mean, yeah, I don't know if it truly was that they were, but Ariana says, like, I have never been forced to film and to do things that I, like, didn't fully want to do.
Right.
It's like this to her was the moment where she's like, enough is enough. I am not doing this. It is not my reality.
It was just, there's just too much we already know how Lala is. And it's like, what was it? It's just so dumb. Like, what was Ariana dictating?
She wasn't.
She had nothing.
Anything.
She wasn't dictating anything you were doing, Lala. You were not doing anything.
Right. That's what I was about to say. If she wanted to have more of a blowout season, then she should have had other storylines for herself.
Yeah, it's like,
what was going on with her? Literally, the water tasting, the sperm party, like, those were so unbelievably boring. Like, it gave nothing to this season.
Right. Think of something else when you're sitting down with the producers making up your storylines. Yeah. Now we know that's what you do. Then you should have came up with something better.
For
like,
yourself.
It was just, and it's like, it just doesn't make any sense. Like, nothing she was tantruming about make sense.
No, it didn't. I loved Ariana's line though when she was saying like, you know, I basically gave you a better paycheck because of how I walked out.
Right.
Like that was more dramatic. And then Lala has to be
And the
like,
reaction.
well, if I didn't speak my mind, then that wouldn't have been as big as it was. Really? Because I actually think without your little, again, another monologue where you're just yelling at everybody, if that was out of there, her literally walking away from Sandoval would have still been impactful.
Right.
Like it's not.
It was a power move.
Yes, it was.
So I don't know what I don't know what she's talking about.
But she can't be wrong. It's like with any, even like I think Katie was so fed up with it at points too, where Lala kept basically trying to get like a gotcha moment. It's like, no, because there isn't a moment there for you to gotcha.
And none of it, I know, you're like, it just doesn't make any sense. And the effort that she was putting into trying to get everyone to say, it's like, why? You have no reason to be mad at Ariana. You're mad. You should be mad at the way people treated you and how much that could have been such a different discussion too. It's like, why, you know, like just anything like the type of girl like her, like, why am I not a sympathetic character? Like there could have been a proper conversation where they all talked about it and the girls were together. But instead it was this, I hate Ariana and so does everyone else. Like it was so ugly.
But no, then she's like, and don't get me wrong, I love Ariana. No, you don't. Like this is not, there's so many moments in this. I'm just like, this is not how you treat friends. No. It just isn't. Like you don't say these horrible things about people that you care about just because you're mad. Like I have never been in a situation where I have been so mad at you and have like yelled about like horrible insults and mean words in regards to you to somebody else. Like I've never ever done that.
It's because she's saying none of them were ever friends and it was all storylines and she ruined the show.
In the same breath, she's like, I love filming with everybody. You should say like what Schwartz said. You guys are my friends.
Right.
But she can't say that because she doesn't feel that same way.
Because she doesn't want friends. She just wants to live with her mom and her brother and have the brother be the father of the child.
Yeah. Like I think after this whole thing, and then when she like tried to walk off and then she's like, I wasn't even allowed to walk up. I watched you come back at like your own fruition.
Because you were having a tantrum.
Yeah,
and
if you wanted to walk off, you could have walked off.
It was just so dumb. It was just dumb. It was exhausting.
It was exhausting. I liked when Andy brought up Lisa's arc with Beverly Hills. And we had talked about it before because I know Lisa did an interview where she talked about like a reunion is because you want to reunite with people and like talk things out, mend fences, whatever. And she's like, I didn't want to do that with that group anymore. And so I chose to walk away and be done. And I feel like Lala never wants reconciliation with people. Right. She doesn't want to mend the fence. She just wants to like have the reunion where she can talk over everybody and be the big bad wolf, basically, put a Band-Aid over stuff and be like, all right, we're down to filming next season. Let's go. But it's like, that's not how real friendships work.
No. Well, because she doesn't want real friends.
No, I mean, that was made extremely clear. And I felt like with that exchange between her and Lisa, it felt to me like Lisa was kind of like, then bow out.
Right.
Then be done.
Right.
Like, if this isn't what you want to do anymore, then go.
Right.
Like, and we talked about it, I think, when the finale aired. Like, Ariana walking away from that conversation was real. That wasn't something that she just did for the cameras. It was something that she would have done if she was in this situation and they weren't in a reality show. She wouldn't have sat there and had a conversation with him. Right. That's what I want to see on my television when I watch reality TV. I don't want to see these manufactured storylines.
I know that Lala's saying they exist, and it's just stupid. She ruined it. Ruined the show.
And then at the end, where, you know, Andy's like, you know, what do you think about how your words might affect your friendships? And she was just like, I don't care. I spoke my truth. I stand by
what I said.
But
even after you saw Sandoval say, worked out good for me.
Even after you saw how affected Ariana was by your words.
No one has feelings but Lala because she has a kid. And then she's making a baby or making a human. Oh, yeah.
I just want to bake my kid. Okay, well, this negativity that you harbor is not good.
I know. And normally I would be like, okay, so today's pregnancy will make you a little emotional.
But she's like this all the time.
I know. That's the problem. It's like you've been this way, not pregnant.
Yeah, it's like she's like this all the time. And I just like, I think that this is what, when I said at the beginning of this, we're like, not to make it about us, but like it was so emotional for me to watch. It's like I almost like cried at one point watching it. It was so.
I know, because I was crying because I felt bad for Ariana, but I also was like kind of feeling bad for myself.
I know,
because it was like you ruined my
it.
show.
Yeah,
you ruined it, Lala.
For me though, it just was so hard to watch, just how little regard another woman had toward a friendship with other women like that. And I mean, we talk about it on our podcast, like maybe more than we should, even though we're like over it, but like it was triggering because it's just like we, not to this magnitude, but have had it where women will just talk behind your back, say horrible things.
To your face.
Yeah, but like pretend to be your friend in the same breath. It's like, that is so hurtful. It is really so hurtful. And like to watch that, to see it and to
see it at that age they're at. I'm like,
it's so, and I know disheartening.
Right. And it's like they're in a different reality than we are. But it's like, I'm like, I can't. Like I can't do this another 10 years. Yeah. Like I just can't do it.
And even like Rihanna, why did I almost say Rihanna? That was weird. Ariana was so vulnerable with this whole thing and thought that these women had her back. And then to hear that Sheena was throwing her under the bus, Lala was throwing her under the bus.
I know. And that's the thing. Okay, now I feel like Sheena has been fake this whole time. Right, she only wanted transactional, beneficial friendships.
Well, and that's when she kind of did her I owed to Lala there at the end and made her little speech. It's like we have had times in our friendship where like we didn't talk as much because of different things that were going on in our personal lives, not because we were like mad at each other, but it was just like, you know, when I was at college and you were at cos school, like that wasn't a time where we were super, super close.
Right.
But then when we were able to hang out and talk to each other, we did. And our friendship was still meaningful. Right. So to hear Sheena be like, there was distance and you wouldn't respond to texts. Okay, like, does that mean that you just throw away the friendship?
Like she was going through something pretty traumatic, Sheena. And it was like I'm just like, is this just fitting Sheena's narrative?
Yeah.
That way she can feel better about what she did.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like. I'm like, I'm not even buying it anymore.
And I mean, I have been, like, when I lived in San Francisco, like, I was in a dark time. Like, I fully withdrew from my friends, too. And, like, tried to hide, like, how I was feeling because I didn't want people to, like, know that in that moment, and I was dealing with it.
Not everybody just cries in front of everybody like Sheena. Exactly. I think Ariana said that.
Yeah,
it's like,
she's like, I cry, was sobbing all the time. I do it on my own. Yeah, like you don't do that with all your friends. Like just some people are more outwardly emotional, and that's fine, but other people like want to
process it
in
by
a different way.
themselves.
Yeah. And it's just so for Sheena to just be like, well, you weren't giving me the attention and validation that I wanted in a time that was vulnerable for you. Yeah. I'm going to find somebody else, find another friend.
I know. It just sucks when like to watch. And that's the big thing. Like sometimes I'll see comments like Team Sheena or Team Sheena and Lala, Team Ariana and Katie. It's like, it's not about teams. It's about being empathetic to someone. You don't even have to like them, but you can still understand and be like, okay, they're obviously acting this way because they went through something. Like that's the story. There isn't a team to be on.
Right.
Like it's just so frustrating, but it was just gross. Like it was so gross. Totally backfired on the other girls.
I know it really did. It really did. And then after they cheers with their sandwiches, then we see Lala and Sheena getting changed and stuff. And then like Lala is suddenly like super emotional and all this stuff. And it's like, you were just talking about being fake for the cameras, and now you're like saying all these other things. Why couldn't you have said that on the camera? Because it like didn't fit your like hard girl narrative at that time. And then when she was just like basically F you to Katie and Ariana, like I don't care about those friendships. Let's be real. It's like, but honestly, like, I don't know, but I feel like for Katie, like she would like to have a genuine friendship.
I know.
But like Lala has continuously made that very difficult.
I know, because she wasn't getting her way. Yeah. So she had to stomp around. She only wants yes men around her.
But after this reunion, like why would Katie want to be friends with Lala?
Nobody's going to want to talk to her.
But like the way, and like Katie finally said at one point, and then Lala's like, don't raise your voice at me. But Katie was like, stop trying to make it seem like I'm lying.
Right.
Like I am not lying.
I know. And like if I, like, let's say I'm Sheena for a second, like in this situation, if I saw you yelling, stomping around like that continuously, or even not you, like somebody I think I'm friends with, it's like, I don't think I want to be friends with that person. I know. Like, are they going to do that to me if I say the wrong thing?
Well, that's exactly. I mean, how we said before when Lala totally threw Katie under the bus about the Ariana thing.
I know. Well, and she threw Sheena under the bus a million times. I know. Again, we have the receipts.
Yeah.
So this is just wild. Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me.
I do feel... like, I feel some pity for Sheena, honestly, because it's like, how can you not see this?
It was so sad. I'm like, this is pathetic.
Yeah.
And not in like the pathetic.
Yeah,
I'm like,
but
this
like
is genuinely pathetic. The way she's like,
she cares.
She's so mad at me.
She wants that. And I'm glad that you said that.
I'm pretty sure, unless I misinterpreted it.
I mean, it honestly could go either way because
I think she's so mad at me. But then when she did that speech at the end, I'm like, yeah, that was definitely towards Lala.
For sure. But then it was like, almost, pathetic to see then when they're in like the green room getting changed or whatever, how Sheena's just there like, it's okay.
I know, I'm
here.
So
it's like,
pathetic.
Girl, like I want.
How was she even standing up without that spine?
Right? Like, no, but I seriously, like,
spineless.
I want Sheena to stand on her own 2 feet. Like, I don't dislike Sheena so much. Like I feel just more, like I said, pity for her because it's just like you are clearly like so self-conscious about the friendships that you hold and that puts value on you as a person, but you're not thinking about like what you really need from a person. You're so concerned about what other people are saying and the talk from people online. Like she would benefit so much if she just fully like give all your social media to someone else to run, a company to run. Stop. Like film the show with your friends.
She's addicted
do it
to the
for
fame
you
too. So that's like a double.
And then when to backtrack a bit too, when she was like crying to Lala when they had talked were they in San Francisco at that point when with the Dancing with the Stars?
No, I think that was the first trip.
Oh, you're right.
I don't remember.
And
where they
she's
went.
like, why can't it just ever be about me? It has been about you, Sheena. Like, why can't you see that?
We have the receipts.
Yeah.
Like, that's why it's like,
but it's so,
and you know what was sad too, just not to like go off on a thing, but it was just so sad to see, like we were talking about earlier, women not being able to let it's like in their head, Ariana's just like this side character that means nothing.
Yeah.
They could not handle her then getting successful.
Yeah, quote unquote, stepping into the spotlight.
Yeah, it's like they could not handle it. And it was just really sad.
Yeah.
It's like, why you hate that she had people that liked her more than they liked you guys. Like,
yeah,
it was
like that is awful. That is so
pathetic
awful
and sad and insecure. And why can't we let her be like, yeah, and it's okay to be like, man, I really wish I could have had that. Like, that's why it could have been such a different season and a different narrative if there could have been those honest, vulnerable conversations. And I think Ariana would have been a part of them and been like, yeah, I mean, I don't know what happened, why I was so beloved, but it was just so sad to see them just want to take another woman down so heavily.
But like so typical behavior. That's so typical. Like it is so, that's why like it hits home. Like as a woman watching it, it's like, oh my God. And I mean, it's just strange because you have, even if like I haven't watched as consistently as you have in kind of those middle seasons, but it's like I still knew these people for all that time. Like they were in my ethos, you know, and like to see like, wow, like this happens to somebody who is not like on my level, like it's happening to somebody who has some fame and some notoriety. Like that is so like, damn.
I know, it's like not even the money.
Like
money and success can't stop the haters.
So like, ouch, like that hurts.
I know it hurt. I know, and it just looks like that's why it's hard to trust other women and want to like open up to them. It's
I know.
Not to be dramatic.
No, but it is. Like,
I know.
It really,
it's like
I mean, that's literally what I wrote down. I said not to be dramatic and make it about us, but seeing this stuff with women is so horrible. And I know.
And it's like, I'm disappointed in the like producers, editors, the whole thing that they...
Well, I don't know. I'm kind of sad that we're not having a BravoCon because I would love to see a producer panel like we saw this past year where they're kind of talking about like maybe some insider things because I want to know like, were there women on this editing? I mean, there had to have been. Like, I know that there was the one that like saw the Tom and Rachel thing who was like out on maternity leave and came back and saw the footage and it's like, what was going on? She is like obviously a woman, but I just am like, how did you see this narrative that you were editing and making and feel okay about that? I know, like you are just totally kicking up someone when they're down. It was mind-blowing. I saw somebody made a TikTok. I'm probably not going to explain this as well as she did, but she was like, this... Even though there's always been women on the show, it's always been like men, it's been talked about before. The men have clearly gotten the hero edits this whole time. And they thought because of, like the past couple seasons weren't as good kind of. And so they tried to go back to the old formula of the men like running the show. And it's like, that is not what people wanted to see, basically. That's not where we are anymore. No, it's like, no, we want to see these women doing well and being friends and everything. And they just totally wrecked it. Yeah, they did. And
I just want to know what the thinking is. I want to know who was telling Lala that the show was riding on this conversation between Sandoval and Ariana. It's like, you guys screwed up.
You suck.
Bad.
Yeah, like you really suck.
Bad.
Yeah. I mean, they really shot themselves in the foot.
Because it's just so, because I guess not to give Lala too much whatever, but it was like, why was she so stuck in that mindset that the show was gonna be down the tank if Tom and Ariana didn't talk?
But it's
like that
why did nobody, like, were they only telling her this because other people didn't seem to have the same?
It's just such a bizarre thing.
Because even you could argue that Sheena was playing into that throughout, where she's like, well, I think she wants an apology, whatever. But then when it actually came to its, peak at the end there, like Sheena was the one that was like, Tom, stop.
Yeah.
She's walking away.
Right.
She wasn't going to run after Ariana to bring her back.
Right. And then if Lala allegedly, when she said I've been crying to Sheena, I've been crying because I'm going to lose my job, basically. It's like, where is that coming from? That's what I can't figure out. But that's what it's so frustrating to me, because we know that this is a job, right? We know it. But it should be about their real life, their real friendships together. And if that is so fractured that we can no longer have them together to film, then there shouldn't be a show. And then everybody will not have a job. Like nobody is going, like, would you rather it just like kind of naturally come to an end, or have seasons that are so bad that people stop watching? Or that the cast is so miserable. Yeah. It's like Lala was literally sat there and said she was fine with the bridges that she burned.
Yeah, it's just...
So it's like, how can you have another season then?
I know. I don't know. Like we said before, that it really did feel like an ending. But I feel like if they do have another season, like I really don't think that Lala should be a part of it now.
No, I don't. I do not want to see her on my screen. I don't want to see Tom Sandoval on my screen. That's what's crazy too, is she somehow made people hate her more than they hate Sandoval.
Yeah, literally. I mean, if I had to choose between the two, I'm choosing Tom now.
Right. It's like, who's worse?
Yeah.
And it's like, I know. It's crazy. It's like, I actually dislike Lala, and I feel like Lala did ruin the show.
I can't believe, remember when, I think it was before this season even started, or maybe right at the beginning, when Andy said on his radio show, like, she's the voice of reason. Yeah. And then I saw that he had done another interview with somebody else. I think it was during reunion time. And he's like, yeah, like that landed like a lead balloon. Like I am backtracking on that. Like, no kidding. How?
Like,
what did you see before that you didn't see now? Like, did you not see the right edit? I mean, I'm so like, what?
It was so baffling.
And apparently he went to her dressing room before they started the reunion and said this was her best season yet.
I saw that. I'm like,
what?
That's why I'm like, what are they telling Lala? Because she's
or what are we not seeing? Like, is there some like
because they
alternate
all
edit?
That's because they underestimated the viewers. They thought we were all gonna hate Ariana because we have to hate beautiful, successful women, and we don't always hate beautiful, successful. That totally backfired on them. Because a lot of people have been in that situation that Ariana's been in. And
in some way, shape, or form.
And it's like, we have a little bit more empathy. You know, we didn't, when they ripped and separated Kristen back in the day or Stassi back in the day, it's like, we can see through it now. Yeah. And you underestimated the viewers and the way we are now as a society.
Well, and I think the way that Ariana handled this whole thing too, like she has not been combative.
No.
I mean, there were moments when she had a heated discussion with Tom throughout the whole thing, but like even leading up to the season when they weren't filming, like she wasn't out on podcasts bad mouthing. Like she never like said anything negative.
No.
So it's like, yeah, I am going to be more on her side with this situation.
And to watch you pathetically try to get a rise out of her for the whole reunion too. It's like, this is just so dumb.
It's gross. Yeah, it really was gross. I don't know. I don't know where things go from here. And I really didn't like how at the very end they were still, like, the edit was still kind of pitting, like, the juxtaposition of Lala and Sheena, and then Ariana and Katie were like, it made it seem like Ariana and Katie were like unbothered leaving, and then Lala's here like crying and getting support. So it's like
she got herself mad.
Yeah, like, she did. And like, what do you want? Freaking.
You know, like,
do we want to see like Ariana walking out crying, sob? Like, I don't want to see. Like, I don't want to see Lala crying either. You know,
I know,
like,
that's the thing too. Like, I don't enjoy or like
people's pain.
Right,
like, I
like,
don't.
That hurts.
Especially when it's like completely unwarranted. Like that. I don't like that.
And it was like, again, we have all the receipts, but when it happened to Stassi with Jax, it was like everyone turned on Stassi, even though she was like technically the victim. Well, now I don't feel that way anymore.
Right,
you know, it's like, well, even then, because I've always been like kind of a Stassi apologist, unfortunately. I felt terrible for her. And even in those moments, I was like, why is everyone turning on her? She's the victim.
Yeah.
And it's like they thought that formula was going to work again or something, and it did not.
I mean, they should have known. I don't know where the heck.
I know.
And like, I feel like they had plenty of time, even if they edited it this way, to see what was kind of rumbling around in real life, to be like, uh-oh, we need to change things. Like, they could have turned it around.
I know.
Like, my God.
So bad. And I'm just very, very, very disappointed.
I know. I am too. I don't know. Like, I really don't know what's going to happen going forward. I truly don't. Because, like, let's just think about, like, a timeline. Like, they're not going to film this whole summer because they're just not, with everything that people have going on. Lala's having the baby in September, so they're probably not going to start filming then. So if they do pick up cameras, it's not going to be until, like, mid-fall, and that's just like such a long period of time. Like, I truly like do not have any clue what Bravo is going to do in this situation at all. Like,
they ruined it. So.
I know. Do you think there's anything that could happen for your opinion to change?
No. Like, what do you mean?
Like if they said that like Lala and Tom weren't coming back, like, would you be like, okay?
I don't know, because I just don't think it's Vanderpump Rules anymore.
Yeah.
Because you don't have, you know, it's not that like, I want Lala to be a part of the show, but I want her to be not this way.
Do you think that they need to change the dynamic and like maybe make it more separated, where they don't force all this cast stuff?
Well, here's the other problem too. Lala said she just comes up with storylines, so I don't want to see
that's true.
that. So I don't know. And I know she can't show Ocean or whatever. So it's like that whole part of her life can't be on there.
But I really feel like if you, like with Housewives and stuff, like, just to bring up Crystal, because was a recent housewife that didn't get brought back for another season, and Anne-Marie. It's like the reason why they weren't brought back, I mean, Anne-Marie's is a little bit different, but they didn't have good seasons. Right. There wasn't a lot going on where like people want to continue to watch their lives. And like, I know that that's kind of sad to be like, you're living a boring life, but it's just like you're living a regular life. Right. I don't necessarily want to watch a regular family on my television or regular friends.
I know, that's what's kind of like, it's kind of a complicated thing, because if we're taking away the friendship from Vanderpump Rules, then we don't have anything at Vanderpump
I know,
Rules.
that's what I feel too.
So
but
it's like
with Lala though, it's like, if you, sure, we sometimes people don't have great seasons. That does happen. But it's like, if your life is at a point right now where like everything that's going on with Ocean and the custody and all that stuff, you can't really show that part of your life. Does it make sense for you to be on a reality show? Like, I just don't think that it should be a given that you're always going to have this show and you're always going to be able to, you know, be on this and have it and get another season. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't really, if she was on Housewives, I'd be like, cut her. Like, her season was boring. Like, I don't care what she's bringing to the table.
Right.
So I don't know, but the Vanderpump dynamic has always been different than that. And it is about friendships, and it just feels like we are very fractured. And I don't know if they can get to a place where they come back together. I really don't know if that's able to even happen. So
I know. I mean, I think the show should end because I don't know. It's just too depressing to see.
But I mean, it's been on a long time.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's a great run for a show.
Right.
A reality show.
It's a bad ending, but yeah.
It's a horrible ending.
Especially when you aren't really changing out a cast.
Yeah. Like, that's a long time for it to go on. And yeah, I'm sad that if this is the end, that this is how it had to happen. But it just feels like, maybe something will change. In my opinion, will be changed if they come back.
They'd almost, if they wanted to have the same people, they'd have to like rename the show, do something totally different because it's not Vanderpump Rules anymore.
Yeah. I don't know. But like, let's just say if they did film in like the fall from like, I don't know, October to December, somewhere in there, like, we're not going to see it until, you know, like another 6 months after that. So we're looking at like June. Like, that's just crazy. Like, that is so wild to just think about that timeline in your head. Like,
it's like the COVID timeline.
Yeah, it is.
But yeah,
I don't know.
Too bad.
I know. I do have a recommendation. I made air fryer donuts, and this would be like a great thing to do if you have children too, because they were so freaking easy and they were actually really delicious. And all you have to do is take like little biscuits. You can chop them up into like little donut pieces, or do like a full donut hole by cutting out the center and put them in the air fryer and then sprinkle them with cinnamon sugar. And they were really good, and I would recommend that. Yeah.
I'm just going to recommend, if you've been thinking about camping, just go do it. Get out in the great outdoors. It was nice.
Touch grass, as people say these days.
Let your feet touch the ground. It's supposed to be really good for you. And yeah, and it's fun to see everybody's little setup.
Yeah, that is cute.
I'm like, people are so clever.
I know, they have like fun stuff. It makes you like want something different.
Like, man, they got it going on.
Yeah, it gives you ideas. All right, well, thanks guys for listening, and we will see you next time.
Bye.